All right, my fellow agents, welcome back. It is I, X7, your master of monstrous mayhem, and the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, also the co-host of GD Explanations. Keep watching for that every couple of days. We put up new content. The last episode about Stumping Lilith was a lot of fun. But today, we are going to be reviewing The Fly, which Sven Gulli aired last night, and I watched, and I've got thoughts. But before we get into them, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. You know what you think about this movie? Have you read the story it was based on? What'd you think? What'd you think about Sven airing it? I'm not going to watch it again because I found it quite disturbing. And I've seen it before, but whew. So just leave me a comment. And if you could, watch a little longer. This will not be I don't think it'll be too long because, it just is what it is. But it's a good movie, but it's disturbing. I just, it'll be a while before I watch any more of it. And I'm not sure I'm going to watch the sequel. I may at some point in time. But with the Sven Squad airing it later in the evening, I got to work at my assignment in the morning. So it's a little difficult. Anyway, let's roll. So this first movie was never aired, at least as far as I know, in Fossil Bed as I was growing up. I wanted to see it a lot because my mother and my father, my sainted mother and my father had seen it, and mom knew about it. And I'd seen clips of it on television just toward, the very iconic clips of the fly with the human head getting menaced by a spider, and then the human with the fly head seeing his wife, but no context. So just, that. I didn't know. I knew what it was about by the time I did see it, which was not until, I don't know, geez, maybe VHS. I don't know. What do we have there? It's a really good movie. I mean, it starts out with a fly creeping about there. Al Hedison, later on known as David Hedison from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and the unfortunate remake of The Lost World. Blech. I'm looking to see if it says it when it was released. I don't know. It was a gigantic hit, and Patricia Owens as the leads. Vincent Price, of course. Herbert Marshall, directed by Kurt Newman, who I didn't have any idea. It was released on July 16th, 1958 in the US. It runs 94 minutes, 20th Century Fox, although it's available to view on Paramount Plus. Go figure. The box office was between 325,000 and almost 500,000, but grossed 3 million or 1.7. That's no help. Thanks, Wikipedia. No help at all. Anyway, so it takes place in Montreal, which I did not realize. I mean, I've seen it maybe twice in its entirety, and either I didn't pay attention enough or what, but it was. I got a copy of it. I think a friend of mine, Ed, had sent it to me um, on VHS in widescreen from AMC when they started doing that, which was really nice. And so I haven't seen it in probably 20 years, maybe. And there is French here. There's a cat. There's Gaston. Who better than Gaston? And so we're starting out at nearly the end of the movie, and there's Helene Delambre, who is seen at a murder. It's a murder scene. She's just killed someone gruesomely with a hydraulic press. And there's Vincent Price there as his brother, Francois, because she's Andre she calls him and says, I've killed Andre. And there's Gaston, who says, come down here. He calls Inspector Charras. I just like that they have a club that will bring a phone to their members at midnight, because Francois says, "Oh no, it's midnight. What are you bothering me with? Why are you still awake? Midnight, like it's nothing." So they rushes down there. Everyone's there. It's Andre, the long, and the stroke count is 2. So it's been raised and lowered twice to make sure the scooshing of said of Andre was complete. And there's her doctor, and they don't know what's going on. She's looking at the fly, trying to find it still, even though she's already killed her husband. They catch her in a lie. She says she did it, and then but they can't figure out what's going on. And there she's got a nurse looking after her. She pretends she's crazy, and then there's the little boy played by who is this? Philippe. It's Philip Galambra, Charles Herbert, little Charles Herbert, who was American child actor. Yeah, he did pretty well. I mean, I don't know how old he was here. He started working at 5 years old in '54, so he'd have been 8 years old. Oh, he's in The Monster That Challenged the World, Colossus of New York, which I do enjoy. I'd like to see that again. Men into Space, and 13 Ghosts, which I do like as well, the original one. Family Affair, which I do not like. Anyway, so yeah, that's that. So they keep asking him the same question: How long do flies live? Which is like 4 days, really. And Francois lies to her and says he's got it. And then, so we go into flashback here. He brings Inspector Taras in, and they're a happy family. And Andre's working on this interesting thing, zapping. He says he's finally got it right. He puts a plate in there, and only atoms, and he calls it the disintegrator integrator, which means it's exactly the same thing that the transporter in Star Trek does. So obviously they refined it by the 23rd, 24th century. It actually disintegrates you and rebuilds you atom by atom, which is, right there. Bingo. But it's in reverse. So he hasn't perfected it yet. So he's annoyed. Yes, it matters. But then he fixes it with a paper. And we get to an unpleasant part for me, which I'm just going to, well, he puts their family cat. So, and, you know, it's nice to hear from you. They can't, Dondelo's disappeared because, of course, he sacrificed his cat in the name of science, which, and they just kind of go, they're like, oh, okay, it's just a cat. You know me. If anyone, you know me, that's disturbing to me. But he's all happy now because he's fixed it. They go to a play. He's still writing out. She swats him and reintegrated champagne, and it works. And everything's right. It's ice cold. Then he does it to a guinea pig, literal guinea pig. Yeah. So, and there. So, Helene is all excited. Now, they don't have French accents at all. None of them, except for Inspector Charras does. Which, if you're in Montreal, that is a dual language country, right? So I don't really care about that. And they were smart enough not to do it. Now, Gaston, who's played by Torben Meyer, uncredited, was Danish. But at least he had an accent and he didn't have to fake it. And she made him promise because he tells him what happened with Dandolo, which she just accepts in stride, and he chuckles, oh, she's Cat Adams now. Just like, yeah. And then she's like playing God, but they do love each other, and that's what really got to me with this movie is that this was a happy family, and he, kind of, you have to have a disregard of something, right, to get to the horror part. So it's science fiction until now, and then so he'd invited Francois over, and then but suddenly, don't disturb me. So funny. Now he says he's found a fly, and she makes him let it go. And there it is. You can see the little white head. And she goes down to see what's going on because they have. And she does knock 3 times, so I couldn't. Andre, oops, that was a fall. That's a rock with fossils in it, a sedimentary rock with fossils because geology rocks, right, Lilith? Now, Emma is pretty much the only comedic presence in here. She's the maid. That is Kathleen Freeman. Uh, yeah, Battle Axe Neighbors. Oh, and she was even in the Blues Brothers. I really need to see that movie again. I mean, film. She was in lots of things because she was a character actor. The 7 Year Itch, The Fly. I do like the 7 Year Itch. Film. No, I want a television filmography. Dragnet. Topper. 19 episodes of as Topper. I'm looking to see if she was in, of course, do. But I don't see Perry Mason just yet. Rawhide, Rag, Beverly Hillbillies. She was in 6 episodes of 3 different people. Hokum's Heroes, Dragnet, again in the 60 and 67. Mrs. Sunshine Pound. Aftermath, geez, she's the sheriff. Facts of Life, The Hogan Family. She voiced, well, anyway. So she did a really good job. Go back to bed, Emma. So now he tells her what to look for, and he wants food, but he's slurping, and he won't show us. But then we see his left hand, dun dun dun, screaming. So she comes back. He tells him what's going on. He disintegrated and reintegrated himself, then got back in to do it on the reverse. How he ran it without help is beyond me, but a fly got in there, and we all know the story. So Emma catch flies, and so she gets this. She just doesn't know what's going on, but she does what she's told. And Helene is a little sharp with both Emma and Philip, and she's just stressed. But they find the fly. There it is. But it gets away. It gets through a crack in the window. Now, this expensive house has a cracked window with a little bit out of it, probably because of Philip throwing rocks or something. Who knows? She tells him that, and then we see the food, and, probably LeSueur peas and a glass of wine, but milk laced with rum. And now he's like, "You got to kill me." And she doesn't want him to destroy him. She doesn't want him to help it. But he's all, "Do it, do it. You have to do it because of what I've become." She says, "No, let's try it again. Do the reintegration." So one of the disconnects here with the movie, one of the slight flaws, it's really sad. It was hard for me to watch this movie this time. Is that the fly is taking over. Now, flies aren't particularly aggressive. Bottle flies like that aren't particularly aggressive. They're annoying, but not aggressive. They're not like horse flies that will bite you just because they're jerks, I guess. I don't know why. But the fly brain is taking over his body. Why, if he's able to do all this, brain says strange things now. But why would he attack? So they try to reintegrate him. It doesn't work. We finally get the denouement of seeing the makeup or the mask, which is awesome, and seeing his reaction to her, and like flies would see, continues screaming. I wish they didn't have the subtitles to describe the sounds, but it's all right. I liked having the subtitles on here because I don't have to. But he gets control of himself, sets her down, and then he smashes all his equipment. This is toward the end of the movie. 94 minutes goes by in a hurry. It's very taut. It's well directed, well edited. It's just really well done, but it is dire. And I knew what was going to happen, but I didn't expect to be this invested in this family. And and he even says, because they want to get the fly to to try to change him back, but he's like, "I'm not even sure if that'll work." I mean, it might have turned into the Jeff Goldblum thing where it's the remake where they melded instead of becoming two different creatures. They turned to the Brundlefly or something. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, and I liked it. I'd have to see it again. I like this one, but I don't want to watch this again. I don't want that. The sequel's never as good, uh, but it'll be a while before I want to see it. But kill the fly. Help me. Don't come near him. And then this just killed me. He's still got enough human brain left. And there you go. He's saying, push the button, push the button. Pushes the button. She almost gets smooshed herself because the fly part doesn't let go of her, but then thudding. And now we fade back to the present. That was rough. I mean, sue me. I was invested in this movie by then, and I knew what was going to happen, and I knew it was a flashback. Inspector Charas doesn't believe her because she thinks she's nuts, but he says that he thinks she's insane and she won't hang. He's like, if you want to, make me believe, show me the fly. So Francois is still around, and he sits on the bench, and there's the fly about to, going to get eaten by a spider. Now, if the spider has cocooned the fly, it's already injected him with its venom to soggy up the inside so it can slurp it out. It doesn't consume it like it chews it up, as we all know, right? Being junior entomologists. And he's right there, but he doesn't hear him yelling, help me, help me. Yeah, which is what my mom would say, help, help me. So there's another disconnect. Why would if he's got his brain even in the fly's head, why would the fly be able to speak English or French or whatever it is, and have, why would that work? I mean, unless that's the one thing because he couldn't talk and the fly would, be scared. But are flies even well enough I mean, are they, smart enough to know they're about to be eaten, or do they think they're just stuck until they get that? So Shiraz shows up to arrest Helene. She freaks out. And then Philippe says, oh, by the way, I saw the fly. And he's like, where? There it is. He runs and there, I mean, yeah. So, yeah, he's already, so, by all rights, he should have been not even exit. So it's a model of a spy. I don't think that's a real one. It's, a web spinner. So, but right before that, Shiraz picks up a rock, scooshifies both Spider and, the other hybrid. And he's like, "You've committed murder," and Shiraz is like, "I couldn't deal with it. I had to kill it, even though the Spider was about to. But now he's seen it and he can't." Um, he can't. And they're like, well, what do we do? And he's like, no one's going to believe us. They'll think we're nuts. So they hit upon telling him it was a suicide. She just happened to be there, and the shock sent her into it. So they figure it out. We flash forward a couple more months, and Francois is there. He's going to, he's taking Philippe to the zoo. And Philippe says, I want to be a great scientist like my father, setting up the sequel, which I think was a year later. When is the sequel? I think I've seen it. It was a year later, and it was in black and white. So why they would have made this movie in color, which made a gazillion dollars? Brett Halsey, of all people, is Philippe. I don't know if this is supposed to be now an adult. So well, anyway, if we watch it, we'll find out. Curse of the Fly is 1965 and has nothing to do with the other two. I saw that one actually aired in Fossil Bed, and I haven't seen the Fly and the Fly 2, Son of the Fly, the remakes from the 80s. But so there we go. The end. They're off, and of course, a year later, he's a grown up and doing the same dumb experiment as. Although, really, obviously, all they had to do was put a filter on in there somehow to filter out human from other DNA, and bingo. Which I assume that's what Star Trek did, because we rarely saw transporter accidents unless they split you in two, like the good Captain Kirk and the bad Captain Kirk. Yeah, I know. So tomorrow we will be reviewing 4 more episodes of The Savage Dragon. And then on Tuesday will be our last horror movie of this season, because Friday ends with 7-song Horror Friday, Halloween Friday. And I'm pretty sure I know what we're reviewing on what's that day? Friday or Wednesday. It's not going to be a book review though. Anyway, my fellow agents, until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out.
here. It's alive. It's moving. It's coming this way. It's the wolf monster. A new ghastly creature from the world of darkness, evil, and horror. Frightening, fear-filling, fiendish, and fantastic horror is here. Horror curse is unleashed as the hideous wolf monster is brought to life. From out of the crypts of undead beings comes a maniacal, blood-mad demon seeking new living victims. A new grotesque chiller with new frightening fiends to shock you speechless. You'll meet the vampire doctor, master of unholy witchcraft, the ghoul woman, a female demon whose kiss means doom, and the fantastic flesh-mad wolf monster. Don't miss Frankenstein's bloody terror. It's a super shock spectacle of hideous horror in Chillerama 70 and gaudy color.